Welcome to the Indie Film Hustle Podcast, episode number 57. When I read this quote, I really couldn't believe it, but here it is. So where's the Cannes Film Festival being held this year? Christina Aguilera.
Broadcasting from the back alley in Hollywood, it's the Indie Film Hustle Podcast, where we show you how to survive and thrive as an indie filmmaker in the jungles of the film biz. And here's your host, Alex Ferrari.
Welcome, my indie film hustlers, to another episode of the Indie Film Hustle Podcast. My name is Alex Ferrari, and I am your humble host. Don't forget to head over to freefilmbook.com. That's freefilmbook.com to download your free film audiobook from Audible. And today's show is sponsored by Film Festival Hacks, how to submit your film to film festivals like a pro. Head over to filmfestivalhacks.com. That's filmfestivalhacks.com to download your copy. So today we have a good friend of mine, Daniel Soul, the film programmer and co-founder of the HollyShorts Film Festival here in Hollywood, California. I have a long history with Danny and Theo, both the guys who created HollyShorts. My first film, Brolin, was played in their very first film festival. And since that time, from a humble 40-seat room in a hotel somewhere, they've gone to the Chinese Theater here in Los Angeles and turned into the biggest short film festival in Los Angeles, if not the country, one of the biggest in the country as well. So I invited Daniel to come on the show because I really wanted to get the perspective of a film festival programmer, what really goes on behind the scenes of a real good film festival and their practices, answer a bunch of questions that we didn't know the answers to before we actually talked to an actual film festival programmer. Obviously, you guys know that I did a course called Film Festival Hacks with Chris Holland from filmfestivalsecrets.com, and we really dug deep into the process of making to submitting to film festivals, what you could do for them, and so on. But I really wanted to get Danny in the show because I wanted to ask him these questions and see how much of this stuff was really going on behind the scenes, how they treat filmmakers, how they treat the films that come in, the business side of film festivals, and so on. And just from a side note, Danny and Theo treat their filmmakers that come into the HollyShorts like family. They really care about filmmakers. They really care about putting on a really good show. And that's why they've grown so much over the last decade and have become a premier short film festival around the world. So, man, get ready to take some notes. As always, Daniel Soul is going to bring it. Enjoy, guys. I would like to welcome to the show the legendary Daniel Soul from HollyShorts Film Festival. Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Of course. Thank you for having me, Alex.
So, as I've told you guys before, I'm a big fan of HollyShorts. Me and Danny go back over 10 years now. What, 10, 11, 12 years, something like that?
Yeah, it's 12 years now.
It's been 12. Jesus, my God, we're old. My short film Broken was in his very, very first film festival with HollyShorts, where there was how many people in the room?
40-seat theater. We had 40 seats. We had 50 people or so, standing room only. So
Look at that.
Like oversold crowd. We sold what we could. Got them in there.
Yeah, I know. I remember seeing the pictures you sent me. I was like, wow, they look at standing room only. You picture
like 50 or so folks in there. Yeah, we packed it up for the little place. It was the space was small, but we crammed it up.
And that was the funniest thing too, is the picture I got sent was like all you could see is people. I'm like, man, there must be hundreds there.
Yeah, it looked a little crazier than it was, although it was at a good energy and it was very busy. But granted, it was a 40-seat East Hollywood hole in the wall. But we packed it up though. We packed it up as best we could.
And you know what? And from where you started, your humble beginnings of HollyShorts to where it is today, and for those listening don't understand how big HollyShorts has gotten, HollyShorts has kind of become the short film festival in LA for sure, but one of the bigger short film festivals in the country, if not the world, because of what Danny and Theo, the co-founders, Theo, the co-founder as well, have done with the festival. And it is like I guess I was invited 5 years ago when we did Red Princess. I think it's 2010.
Yeah, I think that was 5 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, we were at the DGA theater at that time. Yeah. And I was just like, I had just gotten to LA a little bit ago before that, and I was just like, oh my God, this is Holy cow! Like,
yeah, you definitely got to see a little bit of the before and after because, I mean, granted, you weren't there for the first year of Broken, but you saw the pictures, you participated, you know, what the process was at the time, how we were, and all this stuff to that, where, you know, we had, you know, DGA holds, you know, almost 1,000 people, sold out, and the red carpet was crazy. We had all these celebrities and some good press, and you know, great party. The energy was high.
It was
free drink. You know, it was definitely, you see the scope of change. I mean, it wasn't clearly, obviously, it wasn't that anymore. It was a much bigger event, and we had a great spotlight shown on those films, which was what we were excited about. And for you, because you were there for us with day one.
Yeah,
so, like being that, and then being able to show your film and have that better platform.
It
cool
was
kind of, you know, way to see both sides. It was cool to be able to do that.
Oh, absolutely, man. And being, you know, doing the red carpet was so much fun. But the best experience I had is I've never seen any of my work look as good as it did at the DGA, because their screening room is insane.
Yeah. It's very good. It's a very high quality, very, very good sound. Picture quality is top notch. They do their tests. Their projection team is great. Like it was definitely top notch. They're definitely top notch there.
There's no question. But now you move to the Chinese theater, which is it's not too shabby either.
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Well, once you go to that quality, that level of quality, there's only so many places you can go. And if you're staying in Hollywood, you have the DGA, you have the Chinese theater, you have the ArcLight.
Yeah,
you know, and those are kind of basically your main options. I mean, there's others. Yeah, Harmony Gold and other places like that, but they don't compare. Those are the top. Those are for me the top. And for quality, the size count of seats, you know, people you can actually attend, the size of the venues out without getting too big. I mean, Dolby and El Capitan, those places are just too massive, and we can't, you know, go that big and afford that. We're not a Disney studio premiere, you know, we don't have that kind of Disney unlimited budget for a Marvel or you know,
a Star Wars movie.
Star Wars. They don't have the Star Wars premiere blocking off all of Hollywood for $10 million or whatever they spent on that.
That was a bigger premiere. That was the biggest premiere in history. It was bigger than the Oscars.
They blocked off more than even Oscars do as far as street blockage. It's crazy. But so I mean, for our area of where we are, you know, we felt of all those options. We've done all those options. We've done the DGA. We've been at the ArcLight, and now we felt for all those, the Chinese theater became our home, and what we felt was the best option to have.
Yeah, how many years have you been there?
This is our 4th year.
Okay.
This will be our 4th year there. It goes by pretty quick, and we've done different things there. We've had parties there and parties outside. Used multiple screens. Used the downstairs, the main old Grauman's quote unquote Chinese theater for opening night. The first time we were there, it was a great deal. It was amazing. Now we use multiple screens for opening night to have the equal seat count upstairs in the sixplex. But the IMAX they installed is kind of pushed that up to where that main house is very expensive now. So
of course,
and we're in the summertime in August, so with the premieres of what we're up against with premieres and things like that, and big movies coming out in August, you know, it's kind of made it more difficult. We're working to get back in there for opening night, because it was great that year we had it there and just have that huge. I mean, to be in that theater, you know, it's legendary.
Oh my God,
that film's there. It's really cool. It was a cool moment when we first got there. Our first year doing that there. It was our first time at the theater now. Finally, the festival's kicking off. It's opening night. Giving a speech, you look up and you see this sold-out room, and in front of you is all these people coming to our festival.
Yeah.
You know, it's a cool moment. I felt it was pretty, I guess you could say somewhat validating or pretty cool. Like to say, hey, we've gotten to a certain place to be able to be here. And where I came as a kid to see like The Fugitive and stuff. And
yeah, I know, right? Is that crazy?
Movies and stuff I saw when I used to live here as a kid a little bit in between LA and Miami. Like it was like that. Now I'm here, and it's sold out, and there's all these people here, and
it was crazy.
It was cool. It's pretty cool. So it's a great place to be. It's a great home for us.
So the question I've been always wanting to ask you, I've never asked you this question. Why the hell did you start a film festival? Because my friend, I saw a little bit of behind the scenes of how you guys do what you do. And it's not like, by the way, guys, Danny's not like, you know, Scrooge McDucking it in gold bullion because he's running HollyShorts. You know, this is a labor of love. But I have to ask, why the hell did you start this?
Yeah, it's a very fair question. It's a question sometimes you ask yourself.
tell me about it, brother.
You know, to be honest, I mean, but there's a few parts to it, but I mean, mainly at the time, because again, we didn't have the grand vision of knowing what it could end up being or where we would go. So to take it a step further back, I guess we could say, I mean, at the time we were 24, and Theo and I, to give a little quick backstory, Theo and I grew up together in Miami, and I moved here first. My brother and grandmother were here, and they kind of pushed us to move out here, and we just felt like, you know what, let's just do it. So I came first, and I moved out in 2000, and was working in the business. And he got me some PA jobs. He was an actor, and he had jobs in Tony K Films and stuff, and commercials. And so he was getting me some gigs. So I was working as a PA on set.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. And now back to the show.
Just trying to learn my way. I was 20, 21. And then working the business, and then you do your little side acting jobs, stand-in jobs. We produced a few little shorts. We're just knowing people in the business, people working. And over that time, and then Theo moved out here, and he was getting started in public relations, and he wanted to create an event. We were doing these little one-off comedy events and just throwing little. We're used to promotions from the Miami culture, right? You promote events, clubs. Thing. We had some of that in our blood from doing events. We threw parties at 15, 16 in high school. We rented out a ranch. We were throwing parties. So we had a bit of an event background in our blood. It's kind of like the festivities, throwing events, bringing people together is something that we like doing. Mm-hmm. So taking it back to now more present, 2004, Theo and I had a phone call, and we just said, we should start a film festival. We have friends that have films that nowhere to show them. We weren't impressed with what we saw with the festivals that were here at the time. And just felt, my brother had a little theater, the Space Theater, a little hole in the wall, 40-seat theater. We could get from him, and we'll get a projector, and let's
put on a show.
French was going and put on a show and just get it started. We knew filmmakers that wanted to present work. We knew people who were actors. We knew people in the business. And we were in the business ourselves trying to break through. You either got to do something here, or you just got to sit back and just talk. It's either the other. You're talking or you're doing.
Yeah.
And we met too many people talking, and we wanted to do something.
You mean in LA? People talk? No. No.
Not at all.
Never happens.
So I was like, I met enough people on set and things that just talk. I was like, we got to do something. We got to make something happen. We have some resources. We could do something. We have some connections we've learned and met along the way. And let's try to bring that together and bring our background of love of events and passion for film and bring it all together and try to make something happen. So that was the beginning, and that was the idea. And then not knowing where that would go, we just said, let's just get it started and let's see if we can survive it. If we do it and it's just a bad idea, or we didn't like it, or it sucked, or it was just a poorly attended event, or whatever.
Yeah.
Then I guess we would say, let's just stop this. But it went so well that first year, we just caught the bug. I mean, we felt very strong about what we did in that little theater. And
how many submissions did you get that year?
Oh, that first year was like, I think it was like, we screened 23 movies, 2 days. And then had our Friday little party, opening night, quote unquote party, was at this bungalow club on Melrose, which I think is closed. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's closed down now.
Sure.
It's still there, but it's something else now. I forget what it's called.
Uh-huh.
And we had like 30 submissions or something, 32. So it was basically.
So I was one of those 32 submissions.
Yeah, it was like there wasn't many outside that didn't get in. So if you didn't get in, it's like, damn.
It's like, man, something happened if you didn't get in 2005, 2004.
Yeah, it was, yours was like a lock. This is amazing. Like, this is great because there was some films that comparably, especially to now.
Right.
Obviously the scope of films we're getting now around the world and everything.
Sure.
I mean, some films we screened that, quite frankly, were, very on the amateur level. This is also, you got to remember, 2004, 2005 didn't
Technology.
feel that long ago, but it is like.
Oh, that's like it's like dog years.
Yeah, it's night and day. I mean, this is pre-YouTube. So there was no YouTube yet. There was like iFilm and these websites. There wasn't much. So people were posting stuff online, but digital was still kind of coming.
Oh, streaming was like
no red camera,
streaming
no
was horrible.
So we're still getting VHS submissions at the time. We had VHS submissions as well. So we actually literally had VCRs watching some VHS submissions. So this is kind of dates us that way.
So I'll stop. Boys and girls, there's this format called VHS. No, I'm joking. There used to be stores you would have to go to rent these things.
Yeah. It's, I miss them. I want to go back.
Oh man, that's a whole other episode.
Yeah. But yeah, so we just said, let's just start this thing, and we wanted to make something happen. We love film. We love doing events. We wanted to bring people together. We knew a lot of creatives and filmmakers and people that we knew in the business from friendships, relationships. Mm-hmm. My brother's people he knew because he's been in the business a while, acting and stuff. So just felt like let's bring that together. And it was a way to bring us together. We moved here separately, but sort of together with a discussion of myself and Theo and other people from Florida. We wanted to, make something happen here. And so all those things combined.
That crazy idea of like, let's open up a film festival. And you were young enough.
You do find out it is kind of crazy because there's so much minutia and detail that goes into everything.
Oh my God.
Annually. And it's an annual thing, right? So you do it. And when it's done for that year, it's done. It's like, you take that breath and it's like, wow, okay, that, we got through all that and got all that planning done and everything. And then it's like, okay, let's redo that and start again. I always joke, it's basically like you're planning and getting married every year. You're planning a wedding every year and getting married once a year. So,
but the funny thing is that when you're 24 and you start a film festival, you're naive enough to think that this is like, I can do this.
Yeah.
Because if I would talk to you today with you never doing a film festival prior and go, let's start a film festival, you would look at me like, you're absolutely nuts. Like,
it's a different conversation as you get older, and you get more tired, and you're like, oh, this is
exactly.
Early 20s, you're running around, you can do anything. You're like, let's do it all.
Not that we're that old, but it's 24 and let's say over 30 is a lot different as far as energy and all that kind of stuff goes. Yeah, so what's how many submissions do you get now average annually?
So just for the fest alone, last year we received basically around 2,200 submissions.
Nice. That's a lot. Better than 32.
Yeah, much more than 32. Much more, and then so a lot more watching. And that was last year. That's just for the festival. We also have separate entries for the monthly screening series. So if some people just want to submit to the monthly screenings for the showcase and just want to screen in a monthly, they submit to that separately. So it's a different submission point, lower price point. And it's a rolling submission, so people can submit any time throughout the year. We're continually reviewing those films to see what we'll place at different monthly events throughout the year. So there's that going on separately. So with that combined, you're probably talking more like, I guess, 2,500 or so, give or take, maybe more, for the whole year. Adding it all together.
Right. Now, do you watch every film that's submitted?
I try to. Do
you personally, or do you have teams?
I used to personally watch everything. Now it's more that I try to watch as much as possible. We have a bigger review team now that's helping, because you have to realize that we have to also take a step back, or even myself, of trying to always watch everything, and sometimes multiple times. Some films, obviously, that time-wise it's just not very viable to do that. Right. I had to kind of balance it out because it's difficult. But up to this point, we still have. This year, we're going to do probably more of a process of, we've assigned a bigger review team. We've plucked a lot of industry folks and say, hey, guys, we need help reviewing some films. Come in and watch. And we're going to assign films to everyone. And then we review the scores, come in and check, and we'll rewatch films of certain scores. And that's kind of the process we're going to have with our jury this year that we're implementing. Mm-hmm. So we're still watching a lot of films, if not all. But it used to be where it was like, easier to do. I mean, now you watch 100 films, 100 films, 1,000 films. Now we're talking thousands.
It's physically impossible to do one person to do. Yeah. And I remember when I came over 6 years ago to show you guys Red Princess. I remember the screening process was intense.
That's right. Yeah, we get together. I mean, we still do that same process where we get together once every weekend or other weekend. Because it's a family atmosphere.
Of course.
We've known each other all of our lives. With some of the people on the review team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Theo's family, his cousin helps us judge. His cousin's in the business. He's been a director and DP for a long time, from New York days to Florida to here. Mm-hmm. So we have a team of people that we really trust their opinion, and also they've been in the business a long time. And we get together, and for us that we grew up together, a lot of us, it's a family thing. So we're just getting together. We just sit down. We sit all day. We pick a day on the weekend.
And just do it.
We just watch all day and review, take notes, discuss, give our scores out, and then just organize the films based on that. And so we're still doing that process. It's just, with more help from a strong jury, because we had to lean on some help with some of that. But that process is still intact, where we get together and just crank out films to watch and discuss, and that way we can have that discussion and still know everything we're getting, coming through our doors, so to speak. Right. I mean, the films we get, we want to know what we have. We want to make sure we review and leave no stone unturned, and make sure we give everyone that fair shot. We don't want to just have people submit and watch films and that kind of stuff. We hear about these stories. All right. I mean, I don't, for two reasons. One, it's not fair.
Right, of course not.
Two, it's also, you don't want to be you don't have egg on your face. I mean, we're representing ourselves. We're also, what if you don't watch a film or something, and the film is a fantastic film, you end up just like kind of putting aside and not even watching. I mean, I don't understand that. We want to obviously put on the best show possible and show the best films we can possibly show.
That's what I love about HollyShorts and what you guys do. There's such a love behind what you guys do, and I've been in, as well as anyone, I've been in over 600 film festivals with all of my projects over the course of my career. So I've seen and been to many film festivals, even some local ones that I won't discuss, that were not as nice as you, but but the love that you have for what you guys are doing, and it is such a family environment. It is very, very much like that. Is it okay if I tell the story of how I submitted Red Princess? We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. And now back to the show.
Oh, no, go ahead. Yeah.
So I just finished. I literally am finishing editing Red Princess, and I know HollyShorts is coming up, and I kind of planned it a little bit. I'm like, you know what? I want to get it to the boys and see if they would be interested in screening it. And I've never once ever, since and before, I've ever shown anyone my product, my film before it's finished. And I came over, and that's when I saw the screening process. Hold on 1 second. I got to sneeze. Oh my God. That one I've been fighting for about 5 minutes. We will cut that out. So anyway, I see the screening process, and I walk in, and I go back into the room where I have a DVD, which is without visual effects, without final sound, and it's just basically a final edit, but not fully done by any stretch. I'd say probably about 70% done. And I don't even think I colored it at that point. I don't even think it was color graded either. So I come over, and I have this DVD, and you and Theo pop it into your Mac, which was like a G4 in the back somewhere, and we pop it in, and I just sit there watching it on this little TV, this little tube monitor for this G4, and I'm sitting there like, oh my God, is this gonna work? And then both of you, I think at that point, both of you are like, yeah, it's in. What do you want? Yeah, sure, we want it, no problem. And I think it was either that night or a few days later, you guys contacted me. It's like, hey, would you want to do opening night? With all the other films? I'm like, oh, that would be amazing. So that was my experience with submitting Red Princess Blues to Holly, and they got the world premiere, and that's another thing that I think a lot of filmmakers don't understand is once they start building relationships with festivals, those are relationships that you can, work with going forward in your career. So like, if I have a short film, Theo and Dan are getting the first call. I'm like, hey, I want to premiere my short at your festival. And that's a good thing for both Danny and for HollyShorts and for us as filmmakers, because they get first crack at maybe hopefully something really good and really cool. And we have an access to a wonderful place to show our film.
Well, certainly. I mean, this is in the end, like any business, it's a relationship business. And I know there's a sort of veil covering a lot of festivals. Some people don't know who's responsible, or there's a certain wall put up, and I understand some of the reason for that. Obviously, there's reasons for that, but you have to be yourself. You have to operate in your own philosophy. And for us, we are very personable. We love the filmmakers. We don't, again, I'm not trying to like downplay the festivals, but just comparing, there are some festivals or some events and things that just they don't. It's weird, like the customer is the filmmaker, but they don't really like the filmmaker, or there's a certain resentment. I don't know what.
Or they don't take care of them, or they don't respect them, or
yeah, there's something there. Maybe there's a certain resentment, or maybe it's because of the jaded nature of the business, or you've done something a long time, or you feel like, I was some festivals, you hear the stories, people are a failed filmmaker, they do a festival, and so now there's like a resentment thing, this weird dynamic. I mean, we don't have that. Again, maybe it's back to we started something young, eager, excited. Mm-hmm. Have that mentality, so there's a certain naivete in that, I guess. Mm-hmm. Maybe something like that. But that our philosophy is just to create an atmosphere of a sort of family. Once you're in and you've been accepted by HollyShorts, we obviously have a certain love or feeling or affection for the work you've done. Mm-hmm. Not everyone gets in; it is competitive. So once that happens, there's a relationship that started, and not everyone's going to be. We're not going to be as close to every filmmaker and have these kind of relationships like you and I may have, or others. But there's people involved here. It's a people business. You're gonna make relationships with people, and you're gonna say, hey, I like this guy's work. I like this girl's work. We keep in touch. Want to promote and share their stuff and put them out there. If we believe in any of the people we're screening and believe in their work, we're gonna want to put them out there in the best way possible. So there's a reflection on them, reflects on us. So it's exciting for us when we say, hey, this guy got nominated for an Oscar. Great. We love that film. We love them. They're great. We're going to want to promote that kind of thing and things of that nature. I mean, it's just
you've had some Oscar nominees, right?
Yeah. Over the years we have, and this year we have one. This year we're very, very proud of our grand jury winner last year, Shock, mm-hmm. directed by Jamie Donahoe. Mm-hmm. his film is nominated this year, and we were hoping we'll see if he wins. It'd be great.
Yeah.
But we're very excited for that because it's the Academy's showing a stamp of approval for that film, and it's a film that won our festival. So, and we're excited, and we got to meet the filmmaker at the festival and get to know him well, and he's a great guy, and his film's fantastic, and so we're excited for him. It's a big deal for a young filmmaker like him to be able to get this opportunity is huge. So
I'm gonna give the opposite side of what you just said, and I'm not gonna name names, but there is another short film festival in Los Angeles. I will not say their name, but they basically treated me completely the opposite of the way HollyShorts treated me, and it's something I never forgot. And it was a horrible experience, and it was with Broken. I think it was even the same year, because I think it was the year after. I think it was the year after. Like we had already done like another 40 or 50 festivals we had done at that point, and we got accepted into this big, supposedly the big short film festival here in Los Angeles, and they we flew out on our dime, and we were thrown into this block of like faceless, like this faceless screening with a bunch of other shorts. Nobody was really there. Nobody really knew what was going on in a big screen, not in a hole in a wall by any stretch, in a big theater. And there was a couple filmmakers who flew in from Spain just for this festival. And we were expecting to do a Q&A afterwards, something, nothing. We just got booted out, and they're like, sorry, no Q&A, no time, gotta go. And I'm like, you sons of bitches. And I felt bad for myself, but I felt really bad for the guy who spent God knows, probably $2,000-3,000 coming over from Spain for this big screening process. And I will never forget that. Not that I hold grudges, but I'm holding one now because, and it's 12 years ago now that there's 11 years ago that happened. But anytime anyone asks me about that festival, I completely tell them my feelings on them and how they treated me and how they treat filmmakers in general, because I've heard other stories from other filmmakers as well. And for this the exact same reason why I have you on the show today, I also tell people the good stories. And then when they ever ask me anything about HollyShorts, I always say, that's the place to go. Put your film in there. It's the place to go.
And obviously, we couldn't have grown the way we've grown. It's a community thing with everyone. Yeah. So if the filmmakers are submitting and happy, we can grow. We grow, do better, and give a better spotlight to the films and the filmmakers. Then that benefits the filmmaker. So then it benefits us, benefits them, and everybody can win on that. So we're all trying to progress and win. Basically, is sort of the short way of saying it. I mean, and with that. In fairness to some festivals, and as you know, my stance, I won't defend that festival you're mentioning. But
yes, Danny knows that festival.
I can't really speak to any of that, but everyone's going to make. There's always mistakes made. I mean,
of course,
festival world, we know there's projection issues, there's things that happen, there's glitches, there's
of course.
Because there's so many layers of things and things to test, and especially with shorts. There's so many films. If there's more short films in a program, a feature film, you have one file, one film, one DCP, one whatever. With a gathering of shorts, you have more projects, more, room for error, I guess you can say, or more area
more people.
For error.
Sure.
It's how you handle it. It's it's how you handle it is what I think is a reflection of what matters. We do the best we can in trying to handle that stuff well, handle the stress of that well, be there for the filmmaker. If something does happen, we understand the importance and know how the feeling can be sometimes even life and death, even though it's not that serious, but it can feel that way. It's very important.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Yeah, for a filmmaker. I mean, like if I just spent the last year putting together this short and my big premiere is at this festival,
it's important.
It's huge.
And I think it's a certain area that we should respect that. Now, obviously, nothing can always go 100% perfect. You do the best you can. Some people, we've seen the ugly side of people overreacting to things happening and being really nasty. That's unfortunate. But all we can do is just try to do the best we can to represent our festival and ourselves and the filmmaker well, and do whatever we can to make good on an error. So if something happens, like we had it with a monthly screening a few months ago, one of the film files was a little bit off, a little audio during the projection. We don't really know what happened. It's everything tested fine. We QA all the films, and somehow there must have been a miss, or maybe missed in the QA process was that glitch in the sound. It was a 5.1. It was so there could have been some issue there. We said, look, we'll rescreen the film. Let's just figure this out. We'll figure out time we can get it in. And next time we'll do an DCP and we'll get it in the festival possibly. And so we had the dialogue right then and there. So
amazing.
We do the best we can and say, okay, let's fix this. And we're here for the filmmaker. We're here for you. Obviously, stuff like that happens. You can't take it back in the moment. It's screened. It's done. And the screening was over. and things like that. So you do what you can. That's, I think, what anyone would appreciate. That's all you can really ask for.
That's all you can do. Like stuff happens. It happens all the time. It's life. But how you handle it is something that is very,
and
very
the flip
important.
side is others sometimes, as we've seen, like your story,
don't care.
Nothing's handled. They just don't care. And then that's, I think, what people really get upset about. And what we can't tell people is, hey, it might be like that elsewhere, because we're not in the business of here pointing fingers and demeaning other people. Or we, if we say it, it's coming from us.
Mm-hmm.
We have a festival. Hey, you're competitive. You're just saying that to be nasty about some other festival. Okay, well, but if you say it, you're the filmmaker. You're saying this is my experience.
Absolutely.
That has a validity there. We can't sit here and just say it. But it's true. It's important.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. And now back to the show.
That for us, I think it's a philosophy. We just have to make sure we're always going to be there for the filmmaker and try to make wrongs right, correct what we can when errors do occur, and we try to minimize the errors as much as possible. Because there's nothing I hate worse. Believe me, as stressful it is for the filmmaker, I hate it. It drives me crazy. When stuff happens, because I'm stressed out, stressed about the whole thing. I feel like it's my film screening over, and all these films are screening over and over. It's like it feels like it's a lot of pressure. You want it all to go so well.
Oh my God, man!
And your reflection on what you're doing. So it's personal to us. We're not running someone else's event or something. We put our name behind it. It's our event. We started, so it's our thing. It's our reputation of sorts. So it's
Danny, man. God bless you and Theo, man. Seriously, brother. I don't know how you do it, man. Because God knows I couldn't do it. I'd lose my mind. You're like a wedding planner, like 24/7 wedding planner. Like everything has to go off with a hitch. It's 1,000 moving parts.
Yeah, it's got to be trying to be as smooth as possible.
So let me ask you. So I'm going to ask you some hard hitting festival questions. How long should a short film be? Because I've heard a lot of different debates on this. And I'd love to hear your take.
It's a hard one because, all I can say is, I guess I'll just give some honest reflection on some of this. But we've had, because I'll just take a step back to it. We've had some films that are 30, 40 minutes. So we can't sit here and say you can't do a film of a certain length. I guess I'll say a few things. One, make the film that you want to make. If it is longer, and if you really believe in the film you got to make that film. Because if you're chopping it, cutting it just to try to appease festivals, or the story might not be very good or complete. You could even have a short film that's too short, and it's not satisfying. The story is not thorough, and then there's issues. And you watching the programmers watch like, hey, I feel like I wanted more from that. And then the benefits, like, okay, it's only 10 minutes now, and as opposed to maybe it was 20 minutes, and then you cut down a bunch of time. But then the story might be incomplete, and then it feels. The jury's watching, and we would get together and watch. We're like, hey, I feel like this was lacking. We wanted more from the story, so you can have that as well. Now that said, it does help to be a short. Programming wise, we have 2-hour programs that run anywhere from maximum 2 hours, usually less, and give time for Q&A and whatnot. You need time, so it helps to have a film. If a film's 10 minutes as opposed to 30, 30 minutes takes up, what is that, 25% of the time or so.
So it better be really good.
So it has to be, yeah. So if the film is longer, it does have to be, in some ways, I guess you can say it does have to be a bit better. It has to be a little sharper, and there's more room for critique or error potentially. But that said, when we love a film, I don't care how long it is. If the film is fantastic and we love the film,
you'll find a way.
We want to find a way to program. Yeah, we're going to find a way. Now there is moments that stuff has happened where there's been a few films over the years that are that long that we've had issue with because of the type of genre the film is, and we're trying to fit it in properly to a proper program to where it's not like we're just throwing some film up and there's a bunch of documentaries and all of a sudden you have this graphic horror film that's 35 minutes. So all of a sudden it's just weird. What can you do? So you try to find the right home for that
in the program,
make that work, and then if it doesn't work, it's like, damn, we're kind of square peg and round hole. We're kind of screwed here. So we've had that happen sometimes where it's very unfortunate. The beauty is at least we have the monthly screenings now, so we're an annual fest, so we can say, all right, well, you know what, we'll program this down the road and let's do that. But we don't want that to happen with the films we want to program and that score very highly and that we love. We want to get them in. But that runtime issue can't happen because, again, it is just there's only so much time, and it's very competitive with so many films that are scoring very well and then fit the mold of certain categories and things like that, that it's tough. The safer bet, if your film is shorter, to get into more festivals, that's basically kind of a fact. You see with other festivals and films that are very short, they get into a bunch of festivals. I don't know the process of other festivals around the world. I don't know. I only know so many that I know their process. Most of them I don't know how their process is, but I know what they're probably thinking. I know I see the results of what they program. You know, I can see what they program by just seeing the films and knowing the festival circuit for so long. That I know that some festivals do favor films that are shorter in length, and they'll even say as much. And I won't name the festivals, but they'll say as much like, hey, your film should be shorter. They'll even take submissions that are 20, 30 minutes in length, but they're basically kind of don't want any of them. And they do really want shorter films. So from a standpoint of the festival circuit as a whole, yeah, runtime should be shorter. And the film should be, I'd say that the ideal length is probably in that, 10 to 12 minutes range is probably like that sweet spot. I think for a lot of festivals. Now for us, we don't look at it that way. We have more time to play with. We have 10 days.
Yeah, it's a big festival.
Yeah. We wanted to grow and add to that because of the quality of films. We want to keep that up, also keep the level high and competition high. But we kept growing and getting more submissions, and we had a 7-8 day festival. We're like, all right, well, let's add these 10 days. We can go into the next weekend and show more films and have a good platform, be in the weekend. And the quality of films have gone up. So, we have room that we can play with for us. We're okay with a little bit longer runtime if we love a film, because we do have time where it's not going to necessarily bump someone else out. Whereas the festival has only 4 or 5 days or 2 days. Yeah, I mean, it's tough for them to program something that's 30 minutes long. They don't have that much time. And that means that you're going to bump some 2 or 3 other films out that are, say, 3 10-minute shorts as opposed to 1 30-minute short. So they may look at it from that standpoint.
Right. And it, like with me specifically, like with Broken was 20 minutes, and that got into 200 film festivals, but I also got a lot of rejections saying we love it, but it's too long. We can't program you. Yeah. So then the next one I did was 4 minutes and that one got into a ton of festivals. And then Princess was 11 minutes and that also got into a ton of festivals. And it also had some celebrity power behind it as well, which does help, right? I mean, having a face or a name that audiences do help in the whole process. Obviously, it's all about the art.
Yeah. I mean, I always say this. Like, you have to be honest. Like, it doesn't really hurt. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say it's not going to. I mean, people sit here and say it doesn't matter. I'm not going to sit here and lie to people and be like, it doesn't. It means nothing.
It's assets and seats. It's assets and seats. Right.
It has its cachet and value. At the same time, we've rejected plenty of films with all types of names.
Of course,
you'd be shocked at some of the stuff we've seen over the years of actors. You literally sit here, you're watching, and you're like, I cannot believe this guy's in this movie or this one. I can't believe it. Like,
and we can't put
this short film.
And we can't put this in.
It's. I'm not exaggerating. Like, I'm not going to obviously just sit here and point to the name of a guy, name of
sure.
But I'm dead serious. Like, it's sometimes pretty shocking. You're like, whoa, like what were they thinking? Like, it's kind of fun. It's kind of amazing to think that the caliber of actors sometimes doing some of these films are just really poor quality, and it's just not even on the level of what they can do. This is really surprising. It's usually, I imagine, a favor thing, or they must be trying to help someone out they know and just say, hey, I'll just do this.
Sure.
But it's very surprising sometimes. And then they get rejected flat out. I mean, they're not good. You're not going to show a film just because someone's in it. Now, if a film has a certain quality to it, and it's a great story, good filmmaking, and then it has said caliber actor, that's obviously
a plus,
going to help. And there's going to be an element, of course, for us, we have our opening night. Our opening night usually we've had the Demi Moores and the Kirsten Dunst of the world, and these people attending opening night and showing their work. That's what that big platform is for the big splash of getting the big industry out. That's what we've done as far as our opening night. It's been part of that process of getting a huge night, bringing everyone out to shed light on the whole festival. Hey guys, this is what we're showing this week. This is what's going on. This is what's in competition. This is the festival. And and let everyone walk that carpet and get that experience. But
no, it's been
the celebrity factor is going to play some role in that, obviously.
And you guys have kind of become, from at least from my perspective, from outside the festival, but you guys have become kind of like the go-to festival in Hollywood for celebrities or actors who are directing their first short film, or or actors or big actors who are in short films. You're the place to go, because I remember when I did. I think it was in Red Prince. I think it was Red Princess animated, the animated version. I mean, I was on a panel with Josh Brolin and Jessica Alba. Yeah, not Alba, Jessica Biel.
Yeah, Jessica Biel and Brolin were there. That was sort of our big. That was our first. That's what set that tone for this going forward. And that was our big first night of kind of, hey everyone, here's HollyShorts, and that's when that kind of started. Yep. Because that was our 4th year. We were growing. That was our first year being at the Sunset 5, the now defunct Sunset 5, which is the Sundance Cinemas. Yeah. And that theater was our first time being there. So now we're in a more legitimate theater. No more CineSpace. No more our Space Theater, or my brother owned. Now we're like we were finally growing to, okay, now we're in legitimate theaters. Our opening night the year before, we showcased Adrian Grenier's short.
Yeah, I remember
Film
that.
Tribeca,
Yeah.
but that was at a party space.
Yep.
Hollywood. So
I was there.
Like
I was at
cool
that one. Yeah,
it was great. It was fun. It was great. And it was that festive party vibe that we liked, that we had. It was kind of what we had going for us, what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of set a tone for us. But we needed to take that and also now take it to a great theater, a great big venue, and just really graduate. And that was what that night was. We had, you had Josh Brolin, you had Jessica Biel. These are huge names, and for them to actually attend and support. And Paul Haggis came out that night.
That's right. Paul Haggis was there. I talked. Paul Haggis came up to me that night, and he's like, "We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor." And now back to the show. Hey, not a bad. You did a pretty good movie, Alex. I'm like, and I literally turned to him. I go, hey, your stuff's not too bad either. And he just started laughing. And but that's the kind of things that you get at these kind of awesome festivals, like Holly's. Like you get to meet these kind of people. And I've been blessed to be on, I think 2 or 3 opening nights through other projects I've done with HollyShorts. So I've been on those panels with David Arquette and Paul Haggis and all these kind of guys, and it's just been such a wonderful ride.
We want to provide that sort of platform of we want to bridge the idea of bridging young Hollywood, early Hollywood, indie filmmakers with Hollywood.
Yeah,
hey, bring this group and this group together. Let's sort of make something happen with that. You have some of the hopefully A-listers and people that are of that ilk and that influence, and with that, their agents, representatives, people from Gersh and CA and things like that, involved in seeing what's going on, studio executives coming, seeing the film, seeing the projects, getting aware of the festival, and filmmakers being able to meet right then and there. I mean, Josh Brolin was great that night. He was hanging out the whole night, talking to everyone. He was there until the close. I mean, I thought he'd just show up.
No,
questions,
Josh was good.
Bounce.
He was there, and I think it's his wife, his former wife,
Diane Lane. Yeah,
Diane Lane was there.
She came, and it was her first experience with all that, and we were lucky to be blessed that. Because that usually doesn't go that smoothly with celebrity and
no. Josh was. I can't even tell you how cool Josh was. I had an opportunity to talk to Josh for a little bit, and the best thing about Josh is like during on the panel, he was like, I was trying to find someone to do posts on this short film I directed, and I'm just thinking to myself, dude, are you kidding me? I would have done posts for free for you. Are you kidding me, Josh? I would have killed to do for you couldn't find anybody? Seriously? I was like, really? I would have done it in a heartbeat, sir. In a heartbeat. So
it was a big night for us. That was a big starting point of like, okay, this is how we want to present that opening night. And this is the formula kind of going forward of having the big night and then going to the week of the festival. And that was the kick forward of that, having the success rate of all the celebrities that were involved that night and people that were involved in their premieres, and they're all coming out.
Yeah.
Haggis was there,
and Haggis was there during.
They all came. Everyone attended and the carpet and the Q&A, and they participated. It wasn't just like just show up and leave real quick. They were engaged and participated. And that was, that was a big night for us to go from what it was to where we were going. That was
that was the turning point. That was the turning point.
I think that definitely was. And a cool little side note on that was, so Eden Brolin, Josh's daughter, she did the red carpet. She was starring in the film. It's her first kind of foray into acting and whatnot. And with her dad, and so there was a personal project to that for them. And she did the carpet and all that stuff when we met there. And then last year we were at South by Southwest, and she had a film premiering, and she was at Richard Linklater party, and we went to the party, me and Theo, and then we ran into her, and she was just like so excited to see us, and it was like this cool. She was like, "Oh, when I was a kid, when I did that," and she's like older, and it's like I remember that was like my first red carpet thing, and she was speaking so fondly about the night, and it was kind of touched by it. I was like, I didn't, it was kind of neat. I was like, wait, you really like. She reflected on it like that was such a cool thing for, to think of it that way. I didn't, it's personal for us. I wouldn't imagine that she would even give a damn, to be quite honest, not to be.
But but the thing is, Danny, this is the thing that sometimes you guys, you forget because you're used to it. But you can't, you guys forget that a red carpet for someone who's never walked a red carpet and a big panel, and to be even sitting on the panel with other celebrities or other filmmakers who are of a different statute, or experience is a huge deal to filmmakers, especially to young actresses or young actors or things like that. And now because now you're getting old like me. So slowly now these kids that grew up watching HollyShorts, it's like the Star Wars generation. They grew up and so 30 years from now, they'll come back and they'll, receive their Lifetime Achievement Award.
That'd be nice. We'd like to be doing this for, we like to have this fest go on for,
As long as long as it doesn't kill you. So what's one of the main reasons why you reject the film from a film festival? I've always wanted to know, like, is there a number one reason? Is there a main reason?
Well, there's not just a one reason, because there could be there's various reasons, but there are things you see that it's a big question, because there's a lot of different areas it can go. I mean, there's some of the obvious, right? First and foremost, the obvious is if a film is of a certain quality, it's just not good or good enough and can't compete on this level.
You mean production? You're talking about production value?
Yeah, production value is sort of an eyesore, and it jumps out if something is just not
bad sound, bad picture,
if sound is off, if
bad acting.
Yeah, these things are there. It's an automatic. It's an automatic. Outside of it being intentional, where you see some stuff that's at the midnight,
sure,
kind of stuff like that kind of content where it's done on purpose and it's very spoof and silly and funny, and off the wall and this kind of stuff. Which sometimes we love that stuff. That kind of content is great, but if it's not done on purpose, it's an automatic. Because you're talking 2,000 plus films. We're saying give or take 300 to 400 are getting in. Let's say 20%. So it's already 20% chance to get in at best. Mm-hmm. So of that, certain films just won't make the cut based on a lot of other criteria, but that's first and foremost. If it's off there, it can't compete on that level. It just won't work. It just won't work. And so it's very important. The acting thing is very important. To go back to acting, casting directors and people to help with casting, I think is important in an area that maybe I've seen a lot of films fail because people are making a film in Hollywood, especially in Los Angeles, for a friend. They want to put themselves out there as actors because we're all in the hustle together and everyone's trying to make it as actors. So there's a certain, like, hey, let's help a buddy out. Let's just kind of do this together. And there's collaboration. That's great. But, if you're making a professional project, you're trying to make something really strong. You got to take it to
a high level, man.
Yeah, take it to a high level with the acting. And it can't just be, because if the acting falls off, you can have a good story. It can be shot beautifully. And if the actors are just failing, it's difficult to say, hey, we're going to program this and this is going to work for the audience, or they're not going to feel like, hey, this is not a certain quality. It's going to distract.
Oh, of course.
It's something that we've done in the years past, some casting director panels, discussing that process of, hey, stuff with budgets and whatnot, and people and want to do yourself, but you got to have strong acting. If the acting fails, it's like, how can we program it and score higher amongst other films that have fantastic acting and not of actors that are known? There's plenty of great actors that are fantastic and they're unknown completely.
Exactly.
There's so much talent here and all over the world of films from all over the world. But
let me ask you on a side note, how many films do you get from around the world as opposed to just the U.S.?
I don't know the exact percentages.
Give or take.
I don't have the full layout of the percentages from that number last year, say 2,200 or so, whatever it was exactly submitted. Of that, what was the world number? I don't know, but I know country-wise, it's UK is up there. UK, Australia, Canada, as far as percentage of the most.
But you get but generally, you get the most of your submissions are US, obviously.
Yeah, most are still US, and then from there it goes UK, say Germany, Spain, Canada. Australia.
Gotcha.
Those are some heavy countries that we.
So you're an international film festival.
Last year we screened. I believe the number was 23 countries represented.
Oh, nice.
Represented last year, with more submitted. Some countries, like one film maybe be submitted from a film from maybe one from Norway, one from Poland, things like that.
Sure.
But yeah, so 23 countries represented last year. So worldwide. I mean, we had, like I said, I mentioned Poland. We had a film from Poland last year that was great. We had a block of films from Germany that were fantastic. Spain, UK.
The stuff that
UK is heavy. Always London. A lot of stuff from London. A lot of films from London every year.
Of course.
Naturally, and then Australia as well, and Canada, and Mexico, and Brazil. I mean, yeah, worldwide. Yeah, definitely.
Now, in your opinion, do you think filmmakers should make a short film before they make a first feature film?
I do. Yeah, I do. I just think because it's putting that process together, being able to. There's a few reasons you can go to, say, all right. So, for instance, like the festival side, if you want to kind of experience all that, you made a good short, finish that process because it's difficult to make any film. Yeah. So you learn that process of filmmaking, the pre-production, all the stuff that goes into it, the post. I mean, there's so many areas and rooms for potential flaw or error. Learning all that, then having a good film to get out there, then you can learn the festival circuit and kind of how that goes. And it can lead to other things. If you make a really strong short, and get into some great festivals and get some great buzz and word of mouth, and then translate that into online success with whether it's VOD stuff or Vimeo or whatever. That can put you on a good path. You can meet some real good contacts. You got into fests like South by Southwest or Sundance or whatever, and then ours as well.
Or HollyShorts, of course.
Yeah, HollyShorts as well. You know what I mean? Like the combination of all that. You premiere in HollyShorts LA, and you can do other festivals or other places. It really helps. I think it really would help. And then from there, you can maybe figure out the next steps as far as getting funding for a feature who you want to work with, or if you can get exposure to industry and agent, maybe get an agent through that short. And from there, we've seen some people sign through the festival from their short. So from that agent can get you another project after that and things like that. So I think that's important to do that. If you're jumping in just making a feature, more power to it's tough. It's just tough. Now people have done it. I know.
Oh, many
friends have done that.
Yeah, many.
But
we'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. And now back to the show.
It's different ball game, different distribution. Now, all that said, the landscape has changed with Amazon and Netflix and everything, with people buying more films than ever, AFM even bigger than ever. There's a lot of bad films out there, but you can make a feature if you want to make sort of a
low
level, low hanging fruit and try to sell something. That's also possible.
That leads me to my next question. What options do you think are out there for short filmmakers to actually be able to sell their movies and make money with their films?
Well, there's lots. There's lots. I mean, see now it's not just for features. I mean, you have shorts, you have avenues for shorts now with all the online stuff that's going on with SVOD subscription, with VOD, with Vimeo on demand, things like that. We have our platform we'll discuss soon with BitPix. That's now launched. You have Shorts TV, Shorts International. So there's TV avenue, there's online streaming. There's of course just having your own channel and building your thing up where you have your YouTube channel that's very strong. And now obviously that garners a lot of views. You need a lot of views to make any money because the ad rate is so low, and it's just like.
But there's a lot of different. There's a lot of things if you think outside the box you could do if you have an audience.
And so you can build yourself up to where you have your following and build something up online by yourself in some ways. You can do that. So there's that avenue. Now, it's not saying it's easy, but it's doable. It is something that can be done. It is an option, whereas before wasn't that way. Now with feature films, you have your traditional stuff, and when it comes to studios, distribution, but then now there's the Amazons and the Netflix going in Sundance and buying up everything.
Oh, Jesus. I mean, they just killed Sundance. They killed Sundance this year. I mean, they just destroyed everybody. It was one of the studios, like, we were all playing with guns. We were all playing with bullets, but Amazon and Netflix brought machine guns.
Yeah.
Like they
came with the money and they're here to spend. They have open checkbooks and they're there to spend.
Oh God, 17.5 million for one movie, and like 5 million another one, 7 million. They were just it's insane. But it's great for filmmakers. Because
original content for them is key, is king. So for them, this is what they want.
But they have distribution. But they have they just need to feed the beast. They have the beast already. It's so different than our traditional. Model.
In some areas, the theater owners, of course, hate all this stuff, and they think this is the worst, and they're freaking out. You have the film industry as a whole, the studio system. Studios want to release their films first theatrically, then go the VOD route, and in HBO and all those things, and post theatrical and all their options. But they're missing out on these films. I still think they're okay. They still produce their own films. The studio system still survive. I don't really feel like it's as much of a threat as they say it is. I don't personally believe that. I think the more options, the better. But I guess I'm looking at it from the festival and filmmaker side. Filmmakers make a film, they have more options to get distributed.
I don't think
before it wasn't that way.
I don't think the studio system's going to die. I think what it will do is have to change, and I think it's already turned into that. Like studios generally don't make low, but there is no $25 million movie anymore. Like that doesn't exist. It's either super low budget, 5 million or below, or it jumps to 50, 60, 70 million dollars right away. And it's events. Like you go to the theaters for events now, and that's like basically all the studios produce are these big event movies.
Yeah.
And indie films are a lot of indie filmmakers are just going to television because that's where they have the freedom to do stuff. And
TV has changed a lot. This is the big thing that I think. Well, it doesn't go untalked about in this. It does get discussed, but I think part of the discussion has to be TV. I mean, TV now has changed. I mean, from when we grew up.
Oh,
now,
Jesus!
it's undescribable. It's like
it's amazing stuff.
It's dead to most of us. It's a different landscape on TV. Who's doing TV? Before, as an actor, TV was like this negative thing. Oh, I don't do television.
No, God, no. Everybody wants to do television.
Never want you to do a sitcom TV. No. It was like the up and coming actor would get a gig on a show, and their career rise based on that TV show, and they go do movies after.
Right
now, You do TV.
You jump back to
Huge
TV.
actors. I mean, you can rattle off Jennifer Lopez on a show now.
Yeah, Ray Liotta.
And on and on, and Fishburne, and
Oh yeah.
Hannibal. I mean, the show's on. It's on and on. It's not just Netflix and all that. It's also network television as well.
It's a steady paycheck. They get to stay home, and they get to do really fun work.
Yeah, and it's the quality of work has changed. There's Game of Thrones as a television show now. I mean, to think of the quality of production, how that looks.
Oh, Walking Dead.
Yeah, these shows, Walking Dead. Look at the makeup on the show. I mean, it's a different landscape we're talking about where the quality of show has risen. There's more shows, and there's a lot of bad shows too that comes with that. A lot of bad quality and stuff that's not as good. But there's maybe too many shows. But it's an area where now the industry has changed focus, where there's all these TV shows we made. So it's way different now, the landscape. And yeah, indie film, it hurts the theatrical side of it probably. I know a lot of indie theaters that digital transformation has taken a hit. No More 35. You have a lot of indie films going the route of, all right, let's just premiere and be on Netflix only or something like that, where they used to be able to at least have a theatrical release, at these indie theaters. Now, independent film theatrically is taking a hit, and maybe we'll take a worse hit over time. And maybe that's where that will suffer most. But like you said, the tempo stuff, the studio stuff, that's not going anywhere. I mean, Marvel's not going anywhere.
Oh, Star Wars is not going anywhere.
Yeah, Star Wars is.
I don't want to see Star Wars on my iPhone. I don't want to see Star Wars on my iPhone.
Yeah, so
I'm sorry.
There's always going to be a need. You don't want to see that kind of theatrical experience on your phone. You can do it, but you don't want to.
Yeah,
that's always going to be the difference. There's always. So I always believe in the black box. You go in the box. That situation of sitting in a theater. That's why for us as a festival, we don't believe there's any issue in that. We're not going to lose people to say, oh, I can watch. Yeah, some of these films are online and everything. But so what? People want to see stuff in a theater and shared experience with other people. The theater experience still is strong, I believe, and still will live on always.
Let me ask you a quick question in regards to online. If a film is online, do you guys accept it, or how is your what's your policy?
So,
what's your policy?
For us, we don't because we're obviously working towards our own online platform, and we have an online aspect of our festival. We believe in the online experience as well, and I think because filmmakers want to use these platforms to grow their audience, we're not going to tell someone, "Hey, don't put your film online. Don't do it." Like I guess just one quick way of saying it is that we just don't want to tell. I'm not trying to tell filmmakers too much of what to do. I don't want to tell you how to. How to run your production company, how to sell your films, how to get your film out there, how to grow an audience. I'm not going to sit here and point the finger. Hey, don't put your film online. Hey, don't do this. We just don't like that process. I'm not a fan of that process. Obviously, for us, we love the premiere. We love the first time it's shown here. Premiere is great. We're not going to sit here and say we don't love a premiere or like a premiere. It's always great to have a premiere at the festival. People see it there first, and it goes from there. That's all great. But as you see now, festivals are coming around to this. We for a long time have said online, go ahead and submit it. So if a film is online, say your film's up on Vimeo or whatever, and you submit to us, it's we consider the film equal with any other film. We just want to screen again this competition for award categories and also just for the showcase of great films. We're showing what we feel are the best films we can program based on what we get. That's sort of the simple philosophy of it. That's what we're thinking of doing. We're not looking at it like, oh, is this film online? That one's not. Well, to hell with that guy. We want the film that's not online. Not going to look at it from that standpoint. That's really not something we want to like program or think about when we're picking any of the films. It's not a part of that process. And people ask us a lot. We get the question a lot. Hey, are you okay with films being online? Does it disqualify me? And we're always reminding people that it does not. I guess we have to put more messaging.
Well, no, because for so many years, like if a film was online, your film festival wouldn't even look at it. Like, it's this.
We're very negative against it, and it goes back to that theater philosophy, which I dealt with distribution days when I was in distribution. It was like the online thing is just like there's the killer. Theaters hate it. They just the VOD thing.
But TV, but the same thing happened with TV when TV came out. In the 50s, the theater's like, oh my God, everyone's going to stay at home. No one's going to come to the theater.
It's always survived that.
It's always the same thing.
I think that threatening thing. I think that philosophy is short-sighted. I understand the basis behind it. I get
fear.
If you own a theater, you're like, hey, I own this business and I want people here all the time, and I don't want anyone to do anything else but come here. But it's not reality. It's not how it's going to be, and this thing's ever changing. And I still, you look at the numbers; these theaters still do well. People still go to the theater; they want to see the experience.
Are you kidding me? I mean, Star Wars just did $2 billion. I don't want to hear it.
It just shows you that people want to see the big tentpole films, the this kind of film. Now, again, it goes back to the indie film and some of the more interesting dramas and these kind of films. They may see less of the theaters for that reason. And that may affect the theater and that margin of the business. Possibly, That's something where it's worth discussion. But it's not worth discussion when you're talking about big studio films, big summer blockbusters, like these kinds of films, the experience of IMAX and these things, you can't replicate it at home. I don't care if you have 3D in your house or you have a surround sound. And I have friends with awesome systems. Their house is great.
It's not
You're
the same,
home.
man.
You're
It's
not
the same.
in the theater setting. You're still not in the theater. The experience with other people, getting the popcorn, the whole. If you love that experience or something to that experience, it's a connection thing, and it's always going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't feel like that's an issue. So for us, going back to that, as a festival, we don't believe that the online should be negated or say, hey, you're online. And same with, you see bigger festivals, they finally figured out with like the Sundance and others, they're not worried as much about shorts premiering, and they're not worrying as much about online. We have a case in point with A Reasonable Request, really dark comedy, amazing comedy that we screened at the festival last year, won best comedy at our festival. And then Sundance just programmed it and they screened it, and it's already on Vimeo already. So before Sundance, they put the film on Vimeo. Film's getting love on Vimeo. Oh, this thing's hilarious. These ad directors, great film. It's just a hilarious story, and it's really funny, really well acted, funny comedy. And they programmed it, and so we're seeing that kind of broken down. Before, where it was like, oh, hey, we have to premiere at Sundance first or premiere elsewhere first, so we can't go online yet. You're seeing that they're.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. And now back to the show.
The walls are being broken down there when it comes to online and premiere status. When it comes to shorts, now I'm not speaking to features because features is a whole different world for distribution for a festival.
Sure.
It's a whole different area when it comes to feature films and what's needed and required. But for the shorts, you're seeing some progress there, I believe, with some festivals saying, hey, the online thing, let's not worry about that. Let's worry about the quality of the film and showing what we feel the best of the submissions we got or whatever their criteria, not worrying about online or premieres, because that stuff doesn't matter as much, in my opinion, for
right.
The shorts. It's about showing it in a great program, program of films, and getting a good audience, and not so much about, premieres winning where and being online. So for us, online is okay, but we still do see some other festivals that don't like online, and they don't want your film online first. And I understand the process of waiting out sometimes. It's good to build up the interest and all that. And we like the premiere and having it before it's online first, but
I got it.
And last point about online, we do have an online festival during the festival now. So,
okay.
10 days window of the festival, people can buy a pass to see the films that agree to be on, see the films online if they missed the festival for any reason. It's geo-blocked, so not Los Angeles, but if you're like in France and your friend made the festival and you can't make it from France, you can see that film and other films playing online with this online pass during the window of the festival only. So last year was our first year offering that.
How was it?
Again this year.
How'd the end?
It was good.
Yeah.
Did well. Could have done better. We could have done more to push it and everything, but it did well. And,
nice.
And it was our first time doing it, so it was still good to see that there was a demand there, and it offers up a service where people can see films and that are premiering at the festival and things like that during that window.
Now, are you guys ever thinking of expanding this to features, having some features included?
We've screened some features here and there at the festival, and at the monthly screenings. We're screening a feature film this coming month, February 25th. We're screening a feature, so we're doing that. But the festival itself for HollyShorts, we're not going to open a category for features. Not looking to do that, and not looking to add features for this festival. Now, if we do that, maybe we do another film festival or create something different around feature films. But
you might have special event. You might do a special event or something like that.
Yeah, but we'll do special event screening stuff. We've done like last year. Our closing film was a really good documentary. So because it's closing, the awards have happened. We don't want to show that last program be shorts. We have a party about to go on, so we always feel like, all right, let's show a cool feature at the end of the festival, last block. Now that all the films have essentially been shown, and we have our party coming up, our last party, and we've done the awards. So things like that, like at a competition, just showcase screenings or alumni features. We've screened feature films from alumni who have gone through our doors. They turn maybe that short into a feature, like things like that. That's still tied to the festival. We want to show those kind of films. It's great to show a feature film that was a short. It's great. So we've done that probably, 4 or 5 times. I think something like that, where we're, over the last few years, we've been doing that, where the last film we'll throw in the feature film or do a showcase of a feature and things like that during the festival. But we're not making it part of the focus. We're not adding a category.
Got it.
For the fest itself, no. We want to focus on making it the best short film festival possible. Feature films, if we want to add that as a full competition or other area, we would probably just do
a different world,
separate festival on that, because it's a different world, and we don't want to detract from that. So we do show features and things like that, but
okay.
But it's more of that area.
So can you tell me a little bit about BitPix?
Yeah, so BitPix is a platform that we just launched. Right now we're on Amazon Fire TV and Roku TV, not Roku TV, just Roku, and also online. So at the moment it's free viewing, build an audience up. It's our stuff that's non-exclusive. It's films from the festival, stuff that's also online as well. and we're building it up. We have probably about 200 films on there right now. We're looking to get obviously a huge catalog of great films and festival award-winning films. And eventually it's going to be a subscription-based situation. So it's SVOD. We'll probably be launching that in August during our festival.
Nice.
We'll do an online festival there during the fest. So we'll have the online fest component with BitPix, and where people can sign up and see the films there. And then we'll have the subscription where filmmakers get paid off of views. So if the more views you get, the more pay you get per minute. So that's the sort of calculus of how we'll be paying the films out. So
nice.
SVOD situation, subscription fee. We don't have all that model just yet. Say anywhere from a few bucks to $10 something a month, depending on what we decide and how the content goes and what we have. It'll be monthly subscription, and people will do an annual, things like that. So it's going to be an SVOD situation, and over time we'll build it up to where maybe we'll have premiere content. We're going to produce content, have stuff be premiere, like how Netflix has their original shows, original programming, where it's exclusive to their platform. We'll have stuff exclusive to BitPix, as well as all the non-exclusive stuff, or just stuff in the catalog from past festivals or HollyShorts and things like that. Now maybe other festivals. So it's going to be basically a premiere destination for short content is the goal, and we'll also look to add original programming and television stuff and things of that nature in the future. And it's going to be, like I said, an SVOD situation starting probably in August.
Okay.
So right now it's just people can check it out now, bitpixtv.com, and you can see all the films there and see what's on there and take a peruse and browse and watch films and share. It's all free viewing at the moment. We didn't want to have ads. We want to have people have a good experience, see good films, build it up, and then when we get ready to make a subscription situation only, then it'll be subscriber situations.
Got it.
Pay to subscribe, and then they can see the content that way. And we'll look to add
Cool.
more set-top boxes over time. Right now, like I said, it's Amazon and Roku, but we'll smart TVs. There's Apple TV. There's so many areas where we can
Sure.
more and more set-top boxes. Essentially, they're like more ways to get into more homes.
Got it.
That's how we grow over time. That's going to be the goal. But
Cool, man.
yeah, so it's an extension for us for HollyShorts. We figured, okay, it's time to get into
This business.
this side of the world, this business, because we have such great relationships with filmmakers, some great films over all these years, so many great films, and some of them we see that just kind of go away
Because they don't know how to sell it, they don't know how to market it, which is what I try to teach as much as I can in indie film hustles. Like, look, guys, there's ways to make money. There's ways to make your movie.
Yeah. So we want to be able to give that back. See if we can grow this thing and people can subscribe and we grow, then there's a pay model for filmmakers as well, so everyone can benefit on that. But also it's getting more eyeballs in the film. So right now it's just reviewing, so it's just eyeballs. We want people to, it's exposure at this moment. It's going to be, hey, we want to get as many views as possible for all the content and for the films and put it, shine a good light on them, good quality.
Sure.
HD and everything. So it's really good, but we want to offer that opportunity, saying this is what has to go. And seeing too many films, not after we used to get that question all the time after the fest is over. How do I see that film? I have a guy who still nags me. My brother's friend from Florida. He came to the festival. He saw a comedy program. He was here in town for like a day. He's like, let me just pop in and see some movies and just say hi to you. And he comes. And he's, I love this comedy. Where's that film? I'm like, well, finally getting that film up on BitPix. Like, hey, we have an avenue where it's going to be online now and be on a platform. All these years before, it's like it was just kind of they did the festival stuff, and then they're like, all right, well, we'll post it on YouTube or just forget about it and move on to something else. There is an avenue.
No,
you can get
that's
this
awesome.
film out there more. Try to get it out there and showcase the work. And these are good films. They shouldn't just be. Nothing should be on the floor. I mean,
yeah, no, yeah, I completely agree with you, man. Like, listen, I give you guys nothing but love and all of the just praise for all the amazing stuff you're doing for independent filmmakers and trying to help and trying to get the word out on great films. So, man, thank you so much for the work you do, brother.
No, of course, man.
So we have I have the 3 questions I ask all my guests. So, are you ready, sir?
Yeah.
What is the lesson that took you the longest to learn in the film industry or in life?
It's probably just, I wouldn't say longest to learn, but it's basically, it's believing in the process, but also on top of that, it's really just doing. It's simple answer. I know it sounds, it's just, you have to do it. You have to do things. You can't just talk about it. Just like there's ideas, we talk, we discuss. You have to just follow up and stay the process and do it. Work towards it and do something. That was part of the philosophy of the festival. We just didn't want to sit back and say, let's do this, and then get overwhelmed by the fact that it could be such a big task or you need to get so much money. Sometimes you have to just, if you have an idea or vision, you just go for it. You just gotta keep at it and do it. And that's there was a time when it was like hard for us to get that idea. Understand that, it's like, all right, we gotta just, sometimes like
we can plan as much as you want, but you got to
plan. You can try to get loans, process, discuss all these things and all this stuff, and you can talk yourself out of something all the time. Sometimes if you have an idea, you really believe in it. If you want to do it, even if it's small or if it's not what you want it to be, you could get there. You have to just keep at it. You just got to do it. You got to just try to go do it, and that took us some time to figure out, like, because it was ideas of growth and things we're doing with the festival and other areas. It was always like,
let's just do it.
We were concerned with too many things, and we didn't want to like risk things, or sometimes you have to just, you got to just gotta do it.
just get up and do it. So, So what are your 3 favorite films of all time?
It's a tough one. There's a lot in a lot of different areas, but I'll say the 3 in no particular order. I'll just say for this particular list, and just
sure. I won't hold you to it.
Yeah, no, I'll just say for me, I'm gonna go Clockwork Orange.
Oh, great movie.
Godfather, Apocalypse Now. I'm gonna go with those 3.
Nah, 3 great choices.
It's obviously sort of simple choice. There's other choices too in other areas. I'm like, what about this movie? It's a lot. There's so many. I mean,
but those are the ones that
make that list. But I will say for me, like the most influential movie, probably. I guess it's probably Clockwork Orange. There's a lot of reasons, and I'll give you a quick backstory. My brother he was obsessed with Clockwork Orange, and it was probably, he was watching it at home, and so we lived in LA in the 80s before we moved back to Florida. Yeah. And I was a kid. I was, I don't know, 5, 6 years old. Like,
you were not watching Clockwork Orange. It's my first.
I didn't watch the movie, but I don't have many memories of being 6. But I do remember these guys always watching this movie over and over. They were watching it obsessively. My brother watched it. He was just.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. And now back to the show.
Skater punk thing, and he had his. Well, anyway, I won't get into it.
Right.
He was watching this movie with his friends over and over, and I always wanted to come and join him and just kind of hang with him and watch this movie.
Said no.
It looked so fascinating to me. I was like, "What is this movie?" And then they were so obsessed with it. And he had his poster, and the poster was so cool, and it tripped me out. I was always obsessed with this movie. And then. So over time, you're like, I finally want to watch this movie in full, understanding it as an adult, because I was a kid, kind of popping in, kind of seeing this thing. And my brother's like, "Yeah, watch it." And of course, my mom kills him. He's like, "You can't let him watch this. What are you doing?" So there was this whole thing, So getting of age to be able to watch it finally, as more of an adult or watching it as a teenager, it just blew my mind. The filmmaking and Kubrick, the style, the colors, the sound.
I'll tell you. Look, everything. I went on a Kubrick run. A few years ago, where I became obsessed with Kubrick. Like, I just went deep down dark into the Kubrick rabbit hole. And I read everything. I saw everything. I saw every documentary. I read every book, analysis, everything. And I sat and watched all of them back to back. And I hadn't seen Clockwork Orange since I was a teenager. And when I watched it again, I was just in awe of, like, oh my God, like, if this movie would come out today, it would be, controversial. If it just showed up today, it would be so controversial and so impactful if it just showed up today. And I can't even imagine what happened when it was released in the 70s. In 1970.
You look back and stuff, there was so much, especially like in the UK, there was all this like.
Oh yeah, they banned it in the UK.
And it was just like, there's all these problems. So it had that effect. And obviously, of course, these things, when they ban a movie and it becomes, it almost really adds to the movie.
Right, of course.
People are like, hey, what is this about? So it kind of just sort of does the
lore, the myth.
Right, adds a lore to the movie, and so it kind of creates a different effect than the people who hate the movie are going for. But yeah, I mean that's
a great movie. I love that movie.
Just definitely love Kubrick, and even it's one of the, as I was moving here, my dad knew I was like interested in film and the movie business, and he'd buy me books, and so he bought me some Kubrick books and things, and he was, as much as he didn't pay much attention to all this stuff, and he was kind of. Yeah, he was aware enough to know that I liked him a lot and I loved the film, so he got me the book, and so I read that Clockwork Orange book, and also just all the different stuff on Kubrick and different filmmaker books and things of that nature. My dad bought me here. It was just a cool little gesture that he noticed that
that's awesome
thing, but he still knew that it was something that I was into, and I mean, I think that's there's so many other the
list
stuff, but I think
that's a good starting point.
It has a certain personal thing for me, and and just. The visual aspect of the poster, the story of the film.
So now what you're going to get now in this year's submissions is you're going to get a lot of Clockwork Orange ripoffs, because everyone's going to say, "Well, Danny will love Clockwork Orange. We got to do some Clockwork Orange."
Something that that they're going to know that, hey, I like this, and they're going to try to. Well, hey, but if you do, it needs to be good. It makes it even harder. You're creating a harsher curve there. It's like you can't come, making a film that's. A weak ripoff of Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
That'd be bad. we'll remember it for sure. But
so last question: what is the most underrated film you've ever seen?
I thought a lot about this before. It's a hard. This is even hard. This is the hardest question. I'm gonna take it back to my days at Lionsgate and talk about. I'm gonna say Warrior. I'm gonna go with Warrior.
Oh man, what an underrated movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Warrior because there's some stuff and it was like hard. It was like I was gonna go this way. I mean, some of the movies aren't really underrated, so it's like okay, they're not really underrated. So it's like that's
Warrior is. If you guys haven't seen Warrior, it's with Tom.
I felt good. I was like, wait, Warrior kind of rung off. I was like, wait, Warrior. It has to be Warrior. There's a lot of reasons because not just underrated, but working on it, it was a tough thing to work on. We had a lot of problems with the movie. It did not sell theatrically at all like I thought it would. No. And it was a massive struggle. And it was it was tough. It was really tough. It was very stressful.
But it's such a good movie.
Yeah, because when we screened it, so we screened the movie at CinemaCon in Vegas for all the theater owners in the country. So everyone's here, huge theater, giant, the Celine Dion Theater, the Caesar's Palace. I mean, it's like 1,000 people in this place, 2,000. It's a huge room. People walking out of there. You have exhibitors and tiers, and it's just like theater owners and like, oh man, this is like reminds me of my family. It was crazy, like the emotion.
Because
we got so everyone's like, I'm going to book this movie. I'm booking this. I want to book. There's all this excitement from the clients coming out of it, like all this, and then you get down to the tracking and it wasn't there, and the marketing wasn't working, and the audiences weren't really responding. You're like, what is going on here?
It's a tough movie to sell. It's basically an MMA movie, but it's not.
It's not.
Exactly. It's not. It's MMA is a small part of the movie.
Yeah, it was tough because women thought it wasn't for them, but when it actually is, and then when the marketing found out about that, like, oh, women love this, so then it was like a push to
too late
channel on the marketing to women, but then women don't really want to be marketed to the movie because the trailer doesn't speak to them,
right?
Not them seeing the movie and knowing it when they see it. So it was this whole.
I saw it in the theater, and all I remember is bawling.
Yeah, it's an emotional
I was bawling during that movie.
It's great. It tugs at the heartstrings, and it's nothing terribly original in some ways, obviously, but
but it was just well done. It's a good, well done story.
And the actors, obviously, who they are now. You knew Tom Hardy was going to be the star, so knowing that was like this guy's going to blow up, and being there at the time at the studio, everyone knew that he was going to be. This is before Batman, and so you're like, oh, this guy's going to be huge. He's amazing. Joel Edgerton's really good. He's going to be great. And now they're both massive actors now, and they're both huge, like everyone thought they were going to be and knew they were going to be.
Yeah, and now everyone goes back and looks at this movie and go, "Oh my God, this is."
So I think it's going to be a movie that lives on DVD and VOD and Blu-ray and everything for years to come. People are going to look back and watch it and buy it, and it's going to be one of these things. Oh, let me see this movie, Tom Hardy, before he was Tom Hardy or whatever, this kind of thing. I think it's going to.
I think everybody, whoever's listening to this today, please, if you haven't seen The Warrior, it's called Warrior.
Yeah,
go.
Warrior's great. I mean,
go watch it, go rent it, go buy it. It is. Amazing. It really is
great. Well acted drama, family drama. Nick Nolte's awesome in the movie. It's amazing.
God,
so it's like there's I remember when we were screening it, we're loving it. We're like, you felt like such a connection. Like you want this thing to do well. You love the movie.
It made it. I remember that year. It made a bunch of top 10 lists. Like
people love the movie. But
but just
box office wise, totally flat. It
was a Shawshank Redemption of its year, sir. Because people
if you could live on that way, that would be.
It didn't make any money in the theater, but it picked up later on in life.
Yeah, it can have that kind of life, especially those two, the stars of the movie at the time. You put them on the poster, and no one knows who the hell these guys are.
Right.
You made that marketing campaign now. Everyone's like, oh, Tom Hardy, shirt off, fighter. Okay,
I'm there. I'm done.
People want to see it. Women love him, but back then, everyone's like, who is this dude? It was like this kind of, it's weird how all that works, but
no, that's just the way it is, man. That's the way it is. So where can people find you? Learn about HollyShorts, learn about the monthly screenings, all that stuff.
Yeah. So for the monthly screenings, our next one coming up is February 25th, the Chinese Theater. We do screenings once a month, the Chinese, and the festival's in August. The monthlies go around that, so the summer we kind of block off just for the festival, and then fall and winter and spring we're doing the monthly screenings. So next one, February 25th, the Chinese Theater. All the information is at HollyShorts.com. The screening information, next monthly, the ticket links, all that stuff. Submission information as well for Without a Box and Film Freeway. We're listed on both of those and other sites, Click for Festivals, Film Festival Life. So we're on all the different submission platforms for the festival. But you could find all those links on the website as well in the submission section for HollyShorts.com. And that's
and your Facebook? What's your social media?
Facebook's HollyShorts Film Festival. So if you search HollyShorts Film Festival on Facebook, you'll find us there. And
Twitter
as well. Twitter's HollyShorts.
Okay.
So our handle's at HollyShorts, same as Instagram. Instagram's also at HollyShorts. So just type in HollyShorts, any of those platforms, our stuff will come up for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that. We're also on our Tumblr as well for HollyShorts Film Festival. So we're pretty easy to find. All that stuff. And we're on there, and I'm on there as well. And we're looking for films always, and relationships with filmmakers and sponsors and people who want to work with us, we're always trying to be open to engage and try to grow the festival and work with people and try to make this thing
and put on a good show. And put on a good show. Yeah. Danny, man, thank you so much, man, for taking the time out to do this, brother. It's been wonderful. I hope everybody listening got a little bit of an inside behind the scenes look at what it really takes to put a festival on, and to listen to someone who really loves filmmakers, films, and really cares about what they're doing. So, Dan, thanks again for coming on, man.
Of course. Yeah. Thanks, Alex. Definitely.
Hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. Danny and Theo have done an amazing job with HollyShorts, man. I really wanted to spotlight what they've been doing and how they help filmmakers get the word out, man. So also, I wanted to let you know in the show notes, you will be able to get a code for submission this year for this year's HollyShorts Film Festival. So if you are submitting to the festival, go to indiefilmhustle.com/055, and I will have some coupon codes there so you can submit to HollyShorts at a discount. Danny was nice enough to give us that. And by the way, we'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. And now back to the show. I am not getting paid a dime for this, for anything. I literally, full disclosure, just love HollyShorts, love what these guys are doing, what they've done, and they'll always have a special place in my heart for taking care of me as a filmmaker so many years ago, and just wanted to pass the love along, guys. So you guys are now aware that I am in a soft pre-production on my new film, Anya, and we are creating that membership site that we keep talking about and building it all up soon. But if you want to be the first to get in on this whole membership site about how we're making the movie, get the behind the scenes of actually what it takes to make a real independent film in today's world, head over to indiefilmhustle.com/full access. So you'll be the first one to be notified when it goes live in the next few weeks or so, and you will get a discount on the monthly subscription cost because you were an early adopter, because you jumped in first. So give it a shot, guys. indiefilmhustle.com/full access. And don't forget to head over to filmmakingpodcast.com. That's filmmakingpodcast.com, and leave us an honest review on the show. It really helps us out a lot to get the word out on what we're trying to do for filmmakers all around the world. So as always, guys, keep that hustle going, keep that dream alive, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the Indie Film Hustle podcast at indiefilmhustle.com. That's INDIEFILMHUSTLE.com.